Quick recap, this is Saudi E-Leagues, and for people who don't know what that is like, in my opinion, an equivalent to contenders in Saudi in Saudi Arabia. The prize pool is just huge, right? This is just the champions, it's not even the regular season. If you go look at the regular seasons, which is right over here, this is the total prize pool. If you look at NA, it looks this. So, you know, you've got a bigger prize pool than contenders, like a season of contenders, which for a region, not full, right, but for a region, which is just crazy to me. So it's basically like its own contenders, and you have top players like playing in it. So you're gonna have, you know, contenders players, you're gonna have, you know, Owl players, you have Lulshish here, you have Hadiu, Jovi was playing here, who was like a really strong contenders player, you have Amaze coaching, Majid was playing on Falcons. This was older, but the one that happened really recently, you had, which you sort of see over here, you Admiral Admiral Hadi, and then on Falcons you had Lulshish, who's X Owl, KSA X Owl, Calix X Owl, and Majid, who's current Owl. So it's like 4 Owl players versus 2, which is pretty crazy. So definitely some good gameplay. 01, which is blue team, is running they're playing BAP Zen ball comp. Interesting. So they're eventually playing for angles and trying to sort of live over time. Holly does a really early E, which is interesting. He E's early, gets it early, doesn't take as much poke damage. Okay, that's interesting. I'm curious to see what actually prompted him to E there. Could he just get a really big E? He got booped. Oh, and then his shield was low. Okay, so he had to. He was getting like booped and everything. I'm just curious, CC locked. The May almost gets him, so he backs out. KSA gets demeched. They split. Now Diva's demeched. You can see the angles here. Like, it's actually sort of beautiful if you look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, literally like a full-on web. It's just great. Looking at this. Brawl is just gonna struggle here. Like, the only way they really make it is they make a play on somebody. They go on Zen. One gets lamped, and if they go on him, you've got BAP DPSing, you've got Sigma on an off angle, and Hanzo's there to peel as well. So very hard. They're using May wall sort of well as well. He's sort of walling off enemy aggression or just straight up damage, or splitting resources, which I guess was enemy aggression. Sorry, I'm a little cold. I'm not sure why it's cold, but it's freezing in my room. Okay, Babson. Again, it's gonna be really hard for Brawl to retake here. They have to sort of look for some smart tellies, and good walls. Delusion needs to deny Tracer. May needs to deny Ball. Okay, there's a big slam again. Bought him a lot of time. I see again, like, not the biggest fan with that engage. I think it'd be better to go in more open space because it's harder to wall off. Like, it's a greedy hit in that area because you can wall off very easily. It's enclosed. However, if the enemy team goes like over here, might be able to get better slam. The problem with that though is as soon as they leave this area, right, they're just gonna telly. So it's difficult because if Hadi looks for it later, they're gonna get tellied. They're gonna telly, and Hadi's like forced to play slow. So I think what actually would have been the move here is inherently just look for a roll through instead of a slam. Look for a roll through, hide somewhere, and hope that May isn't looking at you. Another thing too, even if you roll through this, right, because of how it is, enemy team can still wall you off. So it's very tricky for Ball. If you know some like really cool spots, maybe you can like set up. If you know some good grapple spots, maybe you can try and like sort of just swing through and not really like boop, like go on low ground so you can get walled. But it's inherently going to be difficult. You can have your Tracer pressure May maybe, so the wall may not come clean. Now they force point with window. Lulshish should walk more, but he's not walking as much. Notice how Yubi is like sort of like he's getting Harmony Orb, he's getting BAP heals to some extent. He's just stalling point while like Quartz sort of takes an off angle and sort of just keeps poking. Granted, I think Hanzo should go on like a more aggressive off angle here. They telly, they go, Lulshish slow, they beat. They should win this fight. Oh, that's a great trance. That's a really nice trance. They might lose actually. Wow. So I want to talk about this because this is like a really cool like thing that Falcons did here. So also for some clarification, this isn't the same Falcons team that like is in EU contenders. This is a different this is a different like this is like the Saudi version. Like some of them are on that Falcons team, but some are not. But yeah, so let's keep going. So actually, I don't think I think Lulfish is only one. KSA was on it. So now here they know that like, you know, they need a kite, so they kite, right? They're not able to take the point, they stabilize, they get CDs, mines happens. I think that's like a really aggressive mines again. I think he probably could have waited. Yes, like enemy team's gonna telly, but I don't think it was really needed there. So this telly happens, right? When this telly happens, I think here, when they come out here, he could have looked for a mines here. Now they know that they have to make a play. Mines gone, ball's out. So they look to telly. They look to try and push in. They know that they're going to be low. They're going to push through it by beating and keep going aggro. What I really like is that the Mei player didn't actually go with the team, and the Mei sort of like pushed his own angle. And why that's really good is because Mei can first of all survive on its own, because you can pretty much take one-on-ones on almost any character, as well as you have cryo and wall, which helps you live, or you know, deny somebody. So how they approached that split was very good. I'd even add to some extent, I think the D.Va maybe could have been split, but it's okay. Like D.Va Alicia could have done a mini dive with when they pushed here. Mei was also just split from here in general. Wait, did Mei wall up? Because that would have been pretty smart. I think you can wall that up. Mei did wall up. That's really clever. That is very clever. Because you're not expecting the Mei there. And then you've got a Mei freeze, and now you can run on the Sig. Sig dies. Enemy team uses Trance to live. Admiral gets a huge pick on Majed though, I do have to say. And that's like a really big pick, because now Brawl has like low heals, which means it's gonna be harder for them to live. They then have to kite to point, try and live on point. They use Symm wall to try and live, which means like Lulfish can swing more and stabilize more. It's really good DM management from KSA. They push forward, and take the corner again. Not bad. Okay. Not bad. I think it's a pretty decent boot. One thing I'm noticing from Hadi is he's always playing into Brawl. He's always looking for these really... He's always looking to like hit first. He never plays second, and his second is normally just poking, which is interesting. And all the time he's always using his E, which I don't think all the time it's needed. I think you could save that. But I do think that like the roll through isn't necessarily bad. Because it is hard. If you wait for the enemy team to engage and then you're trying to play catch up, that's just inherently difficult. Like it's hard to keep up with tempo, because you know they have speed and they have Mei wall, and they give a lot of distance normally to cover. So, and this time that he sort of does this like, you know, roll through right over here, you can sort of see that it splits people up. He almost gets a boop off too. I just don't think he was needed. Enemy team walks forward. One is so far up, man. Holy moly. Granted, again, Brawl will have like a massive advantage here because, like, you know, they have point control and they can just run on somebody. So I would have expected like some people to split or just play further back, as well as just a general logic that you always do when you're retaking is sort of play for ultimates. So these guys shouldn't be walking up till, you know, they have an ult. Like just a general thing, right? Like it's gonna be hard to take space regardless. Yes, your ball player is gonna roll through and get some value, but if they had Flux or Dragon here and they were ready for it, when the enemy team, you know, pushes forward, you know, you could Flux and deal with it that way. Or before, if you want to push forward, you could Dragons, or you could kite their engage and Dragons after. Hi Dorito. So Brawl just sort of rolls them over here. Okay. Again, same concept. Again, same usage of E. Don't think it's super good. One of the biggest concepts you do here, right, is you try and split focus by you try and like forcing point. This works, right? But the problem is in this map, because of how the map geometry, this person can play over here, help the Reinhardt, and also shoot point. So it's inherently hard to, you know, force point. This is 0-1. This is Falcons. So forcing point here is inherently more difficult. So you really have to, like, you still want to force point split focus, but you do have to rely on your angles and sort of, I'd say, your angles and your ults sort of take space. Notice how like aggressive that Hanzo is, just because if he gets one pick off that off angle, then that's just like, that's it. That's a game changer. And Flam. Okay, mines, it gets eaten. KSA flies in there. D-Max, but he's got Diva Bomb, so it doesn't matter. He kills the Hanzo. It's a pretty good aggressive play. Oh, he dies. One gets two. Holy shit. Dude popped. This guy's quite a good player. Okay. You tried to orb the Tracer there. Playing distance, use the BAP. Oh. Majid on the flank. Majid dies. Let's look at that from like actually what happened there besides one POV. So after they roll, they sort of kill a bunch of people when they push forward here. One of the biggest things you always need to look at Brawl when you're watching Brawl is what happens in their mid fight. Because yes, it's easy to W key, but after you W key, it's very interesting to see sort of like what happens after. So the problem here is look where their BAP is and look where their Reinhardt is. They're just really split, which is just inherently not good. So the Reinhardt unfortunately ends up dying. Roger gets two. Mechanically did pop off there, but he got split from Reinhardt. It's a beat to keep going. They do have point control. They're just trying to live. Again, notice how sort of the Symm is playing another angle. Notice how the Mei is also taking another angle, but they're going to join play with the team. The Symm got killed. Like, the problem here is, like, these guys are pretty smart, like 0-1. They realize that going point doesn't make any sense, because if they go point, they're just gonna get, you know, killed by angles. If they go point here, these guys are just gonna shoot them, so it doesn't make sense. So they realize, hey, we can just stall point with our Tracer, right? Which is how you approach it, or maybe even ball to some extent. Run these guys down here, which are non-mobile because they're split, kill them, then we're up in numbers, then we can go point and win off that. So, like, how do you look for that slam there? Again, not real debating that either. Okay. I will say, otherwise his rollouts and his like hits are actually quite clean. And then they get point control. The enemy team has Window, Mayalt, Symm wall. You have to think about like sort of like the ultimates you help you take space. Window's obviously decent. Beat's like great. Symm wall's great. Mayalt's more of like a mid-fight thing, so they're really depending on sort of this Window Symm wall to take space. Granted, the enemy team has like a lot of ultimates that are going to deny them, like mines, which will split them up. Then you have dragons on top of that. Granted, I don't think that dragons was necessarily needed. I was unlucky. It's like a peel mail, but it didn't get anyone. Now you still have trans on top of this, and you're closing a pulse bomb. One thing also I want to point out is UV on Tracer really hasn't got punished that much. He's just been poking and living. I don't think this was a play. I think 0-1 here just needed to stall point, wait for the rotation, because right over here, if you like hit this team, like it's very hard for your team to follow up. On top of that, like because of the Symm wall, it's hard to hit. But the other point is like there's a Diva on point here, and this Diva is like obviously stalling. If you Discord Diva, you stall point, match that, and just sort of blow up the Diva. Obviously, granted, these guys will shoot you, but the thing you have to realize is they have a Symm, not a Kree anymore. So their range damage is a lot less. The range damage is going to be a Mei BAP, I'd say, which isn't really a lot. So I think you can actually get away with actually, like, you know, pressuring this Diva instead of actually hitting them. If they had a Kree, then I'd be like, yeah, don't big go for the Diva, don't send Ball Tracer here, because the Kree is just going to sort of farm you. But it's just a Mei BAP. And granted, yes, Mei BAP's still good, but Tracer will have Orb, Ball, you know, you have a BAP too, so technically your Ball's also technically going to have more heals. So...
To raise my APM.
And what we didn't talk about too much is like the running Bab Zen, which is interesting, right? I think it definitely maybe plays more to their hero pool, but I think also on top of it, it's really spammy, so it's like, you know, inherently sort of better than Brawl. So, okay, and then they end up winning. It's close. We'll go to next map here. Pretty close, pretty close.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. They go right. They put points here. It's pretty much Brawl mirror. Falcons goes for point control. Okay, 0-1 sort of plays outside. They know they need to push inside. They all drop, but there's no weird flanking stuff going on. They Symm telly behind and do a sort of split push, right? So if you sort of look at this, it's a very interesting push. So I want to show this again. And this is like one of the like best parts about like aggressing as Symm is you can do some funky bait stuff. Because as soon as you see a Symm telly, you assume the enemy team's coming behind you, right? But then if like everyone turns and it's like just like, you know, it's just a diva and everyone turns and you're like, imagine 6 people turn for just an enemy diva. Then the rest of the on your team here can just push in and just like literally blow the Reinhardt up or blow whoever's there. So in general, how you want to always approach this if you're telling in into an enemy team, you want to have like a few people on your team on here always be ready to like scout the telly, and that those people are normally your diva. I'll draw it out. So you want the diva to watch the backside telly, you want your Lucio, and I would say another DPS, which maybe because your Mei is gonna play with your Reinhardt. It could be your Symm, I'd say, or your yeah, it would be these. And the reason why I want your BAP and Reinhardt to sort of be focused forward, because BAP has to heal Reinhardt, so and Reinhardt has to hold space, and Mei normally needs to hold space too. So these people need to be front focused, right? And these people need to sort of like watch like the flanks in general, or sort of like keep in mind like if only one person tells behind, then like, you know, Diva can say like, you know, like stay front or something, or like play main, or maybe it's like the whole team tallies, like, you know, you can maybe like yell like turn or something, and then like the Ryan can turn, and you can like sort of adjust based off that by using command calls. But yeah, so if you see, it's only the Ryan Diva that actually takes it, and then the Mei like is actually able to take a lot of space. Granted, I think the Mei should have waited like 1 or 2 more seconds, but it was still pretty decent. I think that Mei wall wasn't the best though. Okay. Then Hadi gets a pin kill on Fuki, because like honestly he's in a position where he's sort of like stuck in there, so it's inherently going to be hard for him. It's a risky. It's actually a really good wall just to sort of stabilize. But the thing is, they have Reinhardt advantage, which honestly, like, our team should just W key with walk with shield. But yeah, because like they lost. Did they lose? They lost. I don't think they lost like someone super significant. I'm pretty sure it was someone like. As you can see, like here it's Hadi, right? He's sort of stuck, so he has to go for a play here, and he goes for a pin, which is a great play. He goes for Symm. Yeah, dude, they should play fast aggro here. It's actually a really big mistake here. Falcons doesn't go aggro. Like, yes, like, you know, yes, they don't have a Symm, but it doesn't matter. Just run into them. You have a shield. You can stabilize mid fight. Go hyper aggro, then live. And the enemy team has no Mei wall too, so you could have got a free Mei wall as well. So there's like a bunch of stuff like that. Now they push in. Madrid gets a kill. It's okay. Calyx dies. Mirror windows. The huge shatter. Dude, how did you get behind him? What? It's really interesting. Like what I love about Brawl though is like how teams get past chokes, right? Thanks to follow, Will. But yeah, it's like how people get past chokes is like probably one of the most interesting things in Brawl, in my opinion, because that's what makes it tricky. So it's a big wall. He walls off the Mei, so now the team's able to walk. Sort of just walks into Lulshish. Okay, there's a telly going on too. So Quartz puts a telly up mid-fight, or sort of mid-fight. Walking forward, Mei's in. So Maju just gets a kill on the Mei. I'm pretty sure he still had cryo. Quartz gets a kill on Calyx. Dude, Hadi's just in, man. Holy moly. That dude is free real estate in. And then Lulshish is trying to hold the like main, which is weird because he's trying to hold here, but look where like Yinza is. Yinza's like on the Reinhardt, but Yinza should have probably played a more aggressive angle in my opinion to try and freeze him and not frontline as much, because the Ryan's that far forward, so you don't need to frontline as much, but it's okay. And then Lulshish just turns, but then he like turns and he just gets blown up by the window. So yeah, just like some mispositioning there by Falcons in terms of how they played the choke. And like how they like repositioned dynamically based off what happened. Okay. Shatter, Diva, beat. Okay, Mei ult is on. They have a lot of ultimates. Might be doable, but retake is always tricky. But one of the biggest things when you have point control again into Symm, your scouting has to be very good. So they go high ground. So like a very basic thing is you don't know where they're actually gonna go, so you have to be ready for both sides. Oh, the Mei's gonna go for a flank Mei play. There it is. Oh, that's pretty big. That's quite big. So they get one. They wall off. Lamb comes to peel. Hadi dies. Alright, there's a Mei ult to try and turn it. KSA got stuck. He Diva bombs, gets a lamp. Lamp dies instantly by one. Dude, one should get looked at more. He seems pretty good. And I've seen him play like Ana and stuff, and I was like quite impressed. So they have point control now. That's not the best wall. That wall is really weird, man. You should be walking into them. You killed their Mei. So I'm not sure why they're not walking into them. Because you have Symm, and then you have your own Mei as well. So walling like this doesn't make sense. You should want to wall just straight into, like, literally like through the point and just into them instead of taking like a long flank or something. Like you can sort of notice that both these teams don't really like take into account what it means to be like when Mei is dead and like how that affects their mid-fight tempo. That's a slight problem. So here and now they're going for this really long rotation. Admiral then beats, which not a bad beat by any means. It saves Baby Diva, then they beat. Yunza doesn't get it, and they were split. So that was just a team mistake there. Oh my god, look at this aggressive ass Mei play. This Mei play is insane. And he came back from spawn and he's like, push, push, push. I guarantee that's probably what he's yelling. He's like, I'm gonna go behind them and freeze them. Push, 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 push. And he's just like literally like in their booty. Dude, he's just in, man. like this is just absolutely like rolling a team here. It gives so much space. Like even if he has the cryo there, that's still really good. That was great. Yeah, that Mei play just created so much space, man. They're stalling the VAP. I want to see how one plays more because I'm really curious on this guy. Okay. Granted, he did play a bit too far up there. He should have been a bit further back.
Freeze! Don't move.
Okay.
Nerf this.
Shift wasn't fully needed there, but it's okay. His accuracy actually isn't that bad. Mid-fight reload a little late here, but it's fine. Overhealing, that's not really good. Okay, there's some like small minor things. Good mid-fight repositioning. He can do like a lot of the time he's doing 1-1, but he can do 2-1 because he can like heal a little bit less and he can actually get more damage output. Because like his team's like fine most of the time. And I also do think he plays a little bit too far up, just a tad bit. Literally like 2 feet back or 1 feet back would make like a huge difference.
Greetings.
Ninja Burger, thanks for the follow. Okay. Oh, 1 second. Just pull this up over here. Okay. So now they're recontesting. They have no ultimates. They have Symm. Okay. Again, like that is also really questionable. And the reason why I think that's, I mean, it's good because like the enemy team, it's really weird for the enemy team, right? Because if they push through here, they can't do anything still. Why? Because there's a shield, and then obviously there's Mei walls to go into it. So it's like you have to push through sort of like 2 chokes, and it's difficult. The reason why like I don't think it's necessarily bad, I think it could be better, is like it's good, but like the problem I have with this is like it's a little hard to deal with like flanks and stuff. So like maybe like something like this might have been better, but then the enemy team can sort of like push through here, like push like that, and that's rough. Let's see here. So they just kite that. I mean, like factor by a lot of time with that is good. Oh my god, so here, this is another great example right here of like a pinch play with Symm. So
Time to raise my APM.
right over here, right, you telly, and not everybody goes. Like not everybody goes, right? Like if you notice here, who left? Well, Lucio, it's a little weird, but like here, like the Diva left, and now they're gonna Symm thing, and they're gonna Diva bomb, like, and then like they'll push with that. So it's like really like hard to read.
I'm back in the fight.
Granted, again, I don't think the Symm Mei needed to be together again. I think they could have been split, but I think it was still a good play. I think maybe I'll do a macro video on Mei Symm Brawl, because I don't think I have done one yet. If I don't know if people would be interested in that, but maybe I could do that.
ultimate is charging.
Ah, this is definitely a ball map. Also be interesting. Definitely an interesting one.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 3. Capture the objective.
Okay. Is that mirror? It looks like it's mirror. They're playing. They're playing Ana with Echo, which is like still fair. But yeah, both Diva Anas go to the high ground because it's safe there. Echo shooting each other. Okay. Oh, that's a big sticky on Majid. Forces nade. Loach just gets forced out really early, actually. That's quite bad. Notice how Hadi's sort of just playing around point and sort of just like chilling. He's not going on the Ana because he knows if he goes on the Ana, he's just gonna like get forced out instantly. Because like one thing you have to realize is look at how divas are positioning. So look, if you look where like I was playing. Sorry, I'm probably messing names, but if you look out how O1's Diva's playing, you look how KSA is playing, right? If Hadi sees KSA playing like this, then he could easily go hit the Ana. Yes, the Diva will fly back, but that takes like inherent time. Plus boosters are used, which then means like there's a lot less frontal pressure. Whereas if you see a Diva like this, right, on your Ana, it's a lot harder for a ball for you to like really go on that person because, you know, it's just going to be difficult. So Locha should have actually probably looked and maybe hit the Ana. But also the other thing you have to realize is like where the Echo was. The other thing is the Echo is right over here. Echo Mercy. So if Hadi did go here, he could have got he could have got a sticky beamed damage boosted, and he would have just blown up instantly. So because of how Yinz was playing, it makes it also hard for Hadi to go there. Granted, if like he had like if he was tracking like, you know, sticky and beam and noticed that like the enemy Echo didn't have that, then it would be different. Okay. A lot of poking and like sort of seeing who feeds first. Okay. So this is interesting. So now you see how one's Diva sort of goes more aggressively, peels here. Well, is in general just playing more aggressive. He makes a mistake here. He flies in here. That's a really big mistake because now he's got no fly to get out, and then he flies again. And I think why he's doing this, right, is he's trying to do this so he can like stall point without the enemy team capping. The thing is, I don't think that's fully his job, right? I mean, yes, he can stall point and that's okay, but he shouldn't like lose mech for it. He'd rather like let the enemy team have point and like keep mech and then push in. I'm curious also how Ball Tracer are not effectively doing stuff. Because what you have to realize, besides, you know, if Ball Tracer aren't going to hit the backline because it's too hard because of, you know, Echo and Diva peeling, then the next big fight that happens is actually the Diva frontline fighting. So like how do you essentially win that Diva brawl is like the next thing you sort of want to think about, and a lot of that's like poking and stuff like that, and pressuring the Diva, because if you're playing against a really good team, to be honest, you're not really gonna frag a DPS. Like you're not like you could win a Tracer 1v1, you could maybe one clip the Echo, you could do something like that, and that's like wow, like great, that's huge, a big present. But the fact that matters is that that's not like super realistic. So like looking to sort of like, you know, pressure out a Diva, force that Diva out, then that just makes your life easier. Like for example, there you like Yinza just sort of saw an opening, he just went for it, and he got like 3 people. But the thing is, you're not always gonna go for that. So your neutral should be inherently like pressuring that Diva out, so your Diva has more space, so you've got more point control. But it didn't literally look like O1 was really doing that. Okay. It shifts first. That's fine. They're really far away. Nano. Both teams have Nano. Both teams have Valk. Okay, so Nano Echo. Interesting. Oh wow, look at that slam beam. Oh my god, not gonna lie, that was pretty nuts. Oh my god, the dog fight. It'd be really cool if he copies Diva too. Oh my god, he copies Diva too. This is actually nuts. Oh my god. Notice how one's playing like super far away. He's like all the way over there, just living and sort of healing from far. He dies, that's not good. Both Mercy's Valk. It's like a great ebb and flow, man. Holy moly. This is just crazy. 3 Diva bombs so far. Like to point that out. Quartz dies. So like again, I don't know if you noticed like right over here. You see an opening, right? Like it's right over here. He shifts early, right? He shifts second. Yinza shifts first, and then he sort of just has that high ground, and he sort of just rolls him with the Mercy Pocket. And because of that, like again, that's a good play. Like there's nothing wrong with taking that one-on-one or like seeing those opportunities. The thing is, you're not always going to see those, but being aware when they are there, so you can like get value out of them is big. Nice. One being more aggressive now. Wow, dude. Let's look at this. Let's look at this.
Heroes never die.
Taking damage.
Okay. Cooking on him. Okay. Oh, almost kills the Mercy. Gets Mercy to 1. Oh, wow, dude. Oh my god, he rolled Calyx. Granted, I think if he did look for that sleep there, he probably could have killed the Echo. I think he looked for his sleep there, which is like a really big mistake. And he should have reloaded also. Like looking for a sleep there, it's because he didn't reload. It's just like one of actually his biggest problems. If this guy has better reload management on, he would do so much better because he'd have more ammo to DPS and pop off. But he doesn't reload optimally. That sucks, because he didn't have ammo there, so that's why he looked for a sleep. Otherwise, it probably looked for a shot. Wow. You can see how aggressive he is. Like he's literally DPSing, right? Like he's healing like a little bit here and there, but he doesn't need to heal that much. Because his team's fine. He'd rather just like use damage to actually get kills and like win the team fight fully. He's got another nano. Okay, Ball Tracer's holding there. One's holding Elephant. This looks about right, I'd say. Tracer Ball gets forced out. Nano Echo again. Double Nano Echo.
Upgrade detected.
They go for the Mercy. Admiral's trying to live. Admiral gets on a pocketed, so Admiral lives. But if you notice here, actually what happens is Calyx couldn't get pocketed because he was under pressure. Which is actually really smart. Like literally Hobby like pushes as soon as the Nano Echo happens. So now Ana can't heal Calyx, and then Mercy just dies instantly. And then he just hits a needed shot with using stickies later, because he didn't have to use stickies on the Mercy, because first of all it's going to be harder because it's like a moving target. So he just uses his projectile shot and gets value out of that, and then Holly takes perfect damage from the mines. That was really well played in team coordination. That's yummy. Okay. Mines early again. Wow, look at that assassin on Mercy. He goes for the stickies too. Mercy gets healed. They mines early. It's not necessarily bad mines. I think it's pretty good. Okay. Oh, that's just a good pulse.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
You vulnerable too high. This is interesting what happens here, because let's start this fight right over here. Very, very cool. So if we watch this, ball hits really early, mines, right? Not necessarily bad, again, same concept, do that, go for the Mercy, right? Like split heals, go for the Mercy, try and kill the Mercy. Granted, Quartz wasn't really set up in the correct spot, because if Quartz was right over here, right, then he would be able to shift up even higher, and he would probably have killed the Mercy. So he wasn't set up in like a vertical position so that he could like fly higher. And then also on top of that, like, one got pressured too because Quartz was like in a weird position, or not weird position, he was just a bit more far forward. Okay, that's fine. So they lose a lot of like, Diva space or their frontline space, which again is, their frontline technically again is, well, I don't know how to word it well, but Diva is essentially like, where their core is playing. Yeah, there we go. They lose core, like core pressure. There we go. And then they sort of get like fall apart. Enemy team gets angles too. Okay, it's pretty close. Oh wow. Okay. So Tracer stalling. They do have nano. Oh, he can get a kill here. He's going for a squishy with the nano because it makes more sense. Okay, he doesn't get it quick. Oh, KSA sort of feeds here. Does he go for like a Try and go for a play.
An overdrive.
He goes for a play. He tries to int on Ana. That was a mistake. You should have played to like force the ball tracer out instead, in my opinion. Especially since he doesn't have Diva Bomb. Now KSA is dead. Now your Diva's gonna have a lot more space. Now your Diva just walks forward, right? Looks a lot easier. Begins against Nano, then he wins a one-on-one. They're trying to peel, but if you just sort of notice, like if you just look at this fight here, it's so hard for the enemy team because there's literally a Diva just standing here blocking damage and holding space, so the enemy team can't do much about it. Yes, they're mobile people, they can move around, but like then the Diva just sort of just either like DMs and denies the mobile flankers damage, or he just walks on the backline and pressures the backline more. So okay, KSA is back now. KSA dies here. I think one thing that's also really interesting is if like when the Diva plays here, right, and everyone else is over here, that's just inherently bad. Because the enemy team can first of all DM a lot of your damage, because you're all coming in the same way. Also, because you're all shooting the same way, the enemy team can really like, not necessarily just even DM, but they can like really like position to like, you know, avoid it, and you don't have any angles of aggression, which you obviously want with this comp. So when they retook like that and sort of all stacked, that was just not good. And Hadi obviously got a good mines here. Probably end up winning. Okay.